In business, we're setting goals for our sales, our marketing, and our production. But why are we not setting goals for our podcast? In this episode, we're telling you what you can expect for your short-term goals, your medium-term goals, and your long-term goals, so you can start planning your podcast for success. Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Be the Hero of Your Brand. I'm Ben.
And I'm Rachael.
And we're the team here at Your Video Team, known as the Podcast People.
Yes, we are. You right?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're not like, look at the side eye that you're doing over there.
I'm just making sure that it's all working fine, and it is. It's good. It's working. It's flicking. But if it isn't, then I'll edit it separately.
It's not. It's good. People can just come and use this and have their episode edited in one go, one take.
Oh yeah.
So
lovely
it's working.
studio.
You just like to keep tweaking a little bit, didn't you? You're a bit of a button presser, button slider.
I'll make up reasons for it not to be working just so I can fiddle.
Just play. Silly Billy. Anyway, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about podcasts. Obviously, that's kind of what we talk about most of the time. But the goals that you need for your podcast.
I'm like, okay. Yes, we are. Goals in podcast, and then how to use that within the business as well. Yeah,
because at different stages of podcast, you've got different things that you should be aiming for. It's not going to be like we thought to begin with when we started our podcast, that overnight success where you're going to start releasing it, be seen, be known, be heard, be the most cool person ever because you've got a podcast.
Yeah.
It is slightly different goal setting now than what it used to be back in 2017, 2018, 2020 even.
Yeah.
Especially 2020, because everyone watched podcasts then.
It is that element, isn't it, of going, well, what do you want it to do? Because the market has changed. So podcasting is more accessible now. It's more popular now, not only in listening and watching, but also in people doing. There are studios. I mean, we were stalking 3 just last week, new ones that have been pointed out to us or had come up on our radar sort of thing. And we do, you look and you compare and you see where you're at and things like that. And that's the people have options now.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are options, there are ways, but ultimately what you always have to bring it back down to is what are your goals as your business, and how is your podcast going to support those goals?
That's it. And I read a post on it yesterday. It's like around somebody turning down a client for podcasting because it doesn't necessarily fit in with the lifestyle that they've got or the business that they've got. Mm-hmm. And you've got to ask yourself, is it going to be a strategical play on the business, or is it going to be a hobby that I want to do?
Well, I say we do the same. When I have discovery calls with businesses and people and say, okay, I go into all of those questions. I cover what we're going to be covering today. So what's your goal in, and, short-term goals, 0 to 6 months or a year, really. Your goals in the short term. What are your goals in the next year? What are your goals from a year to 3 years? And what are your goals from 3 to plus? Because ultimately what you don't want to do is get 18 months into doing this, it's helping you, and then all of a sudden it's too much, and so you stop doing this. Because we've all done it. That's why I came into the business with you, was because you were marketing really well, got yourself work. Whilst you were doing the work, the marketing falls out because you're busy working for your client. That drops off the radar. Then when the project finishes, you're like, oh no, I've got no next project lined up because I've been busy working as a solopreneur, and then no marketing. So now you've got to spend months building that trust and relatability back up again. And that's what we don't want to happen.
Yeah, I think I've read it in a couple of books. Like, people don't realise how much they can achieve in 30 days, but overestimate what they can achieve in a year, or vice versa.
And it's kind
of
go with the first way around.
You've got to figure out, when you're looking back at it, what has changed, and try and keep note of it and stuff like that. A podcast is a long game. That's the truth of it. If you start a podcast, you've got to be able to commit to the time that you're doing with it. You've got to be able to use it as the right tool for your business. You've got to be showing up consistently. There is so much that a podcast can do for you, but is it necessarily the right time for you to do it?
So we're going to be, in this episode, we're going to be talking about the levels of podcast growth and the goals and how they align together. We're going to be talking about growing your business through your podcast. And then we're going to be talking about future-proofing it all. And they're the sort of areas of what we're going to talk about and how each of those falls into that short, medium and long-term goals. Timeline, sorry, not goals. Short, medium, long-term timeline.
If we start with short-term goals, which we say is that first year podcast, your first 52-ish episodes.
And the exciting thing is you've only got to get 6 months in and you're in the top 1% of podcasts.
Yeah, because
if you haven't seen us say this fact, right, then where have you been?
If you've got more than, if you get to 2021, you're in the top 1% of podcasts.
Yeah.
Because they all seem to stop at 3 and no one really reaches 20. So
the fact is 90% of people stop at episode 3. Of those 10% that continue, 90% don't get past episode 21. So the point you get past episode 21, despite what you think is a flooded market out there, actually you're in the top 1% of podcasts immediately. So go you, go us. We missed that milestone.
We've gone past 21, yeah. But we haven't done it consistently. We've committed to doing it weekly, which has got to be your first goal, is commit to the time frame that you're doing it. This is like the foundations of what you're doing. It's like, can I commit to a weekly episode or a 2 weekly episode or a once a month episode? This is based on, if you're releasing an episode every week, this episode that we're talking about, if you've got a weekly episode,
your growth platform,
this is round about what you can look at as your growth, your goal settings and stuff like that. If it's monthly, it's all relative.
Yeah.
It's kind of like by episode number, you could potentially say, but it's all relative to when you release, about when you see these kind of returns and hitting these goals.
We wouldn't suggest releasing anything less than fortnightly. Mm-hmm. We see the results at fortnightly. We see them faster at weekly.
Yeah.
Which makes logical sense. But, we've got examples of what we've done for people who have had a fortnightly podcast and they were phenomenal results, 10x in their viewership in a year. But that was within a year. Imagine what it could have been within 6 months, sort of thing. So absolutely, the example we're choosing today, we are talking if you were to go down a weekly episode.
And this whole first year is about testing, reviewing, learning, developing your podcast to be stronger with every episode. And it's not about it's like 1% growth with it as well. Like, what can make it 1% better from my previous episode to my next episode?
Yeah.
Because if you can do that consistently, have that 1% growth, your quality is going to improve, your retention is going to improve, your audience growth is going to get bigger and better, your viewership is going to get better. So these 1% growths, like, is your storytelling need to be improved? Does your lighting need to be improved? Does the scene or the microphones that you have, can you invest in them?
The framework of the episode, right? Like, these are all things. It's not being afraid to give it a go, have a play, see what does and doesn't work, and then change it if needs be. Like, don't be afraid to do that. We've also sort of said a lot, when we meet people and they're like, oh, I'm so worried, I don't want to make a fool of myself. Reality is that no one ever watches your first episode or your second. In fact, very rarely are they picking you up until you're really in those double digits. Like, that is the reality of it. So go and have fun, go and waffle, go and play, go and find what's comfortable. And then
I think the reality of it is, if you look at who's watching your episodes, your first episodes are being watched by mum and dad, brother and sister, some friends that want to support you, maybe some connections who know who you are and want to give you support. And then everyone gets a big drop off and they're all upset because no one stuck around. But are those people that have watched it, your mum and dad, your friends, your quick connections that you know through your networking,
want to support you, but actually it's not relevant to them now, and they're like, oh, they did great, I sort of fizzled out watching, but they're doing amazing, they're still going with it.
When they go, oh, it looks great, they're not going, oh, when you spoke about this, or when you spoke about that, that's the people you want to impress. So you will get a spike at the beginning, you get 100 odd, 200, 300 odd views for your very first episode, because you have that network and you've gone, hey, I've done this new thing, and everyone wants to support you. But then it very quickly drops off because they're like, actually, it's not relevant to me, so I'm not going to sit there and watch it. And that's not a bad thing. That's a very good thing to happen, because you don't want the wrong people watching it.
It's that example I used a little while ago where ultimately, if I stood you in a room of 10 people and all 10 of those your ideal clients, it's the best room ever, right? But if I stuck you in a room of 1,000 and there's only 10 of your ideal clients, that's hard work. So that your beginning episodes are those rooms of 1,000, and what we've got to do is just slowly guide out those that aren't relevant. And also then what you'll start to see again over that time and that longevity is that room of 10 ideal clients becomes 20 ideal clients, becomes 30 ideal clients, and all of a sudden you're sat in a room of only your ideal clients, and there's 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I'd even say that you've not really got 1,000 ideal client, 1,000 people in that room on your first episodes. Know that your first episodes are the time to
10.
play with it.
10 with maybe one in there.
It's your time to play with your episode. It's time to say things that you want to know that you can create clips with. It's not, a podcast isn't top of funnel relationship building, but what it can give you is like the short form clips, the blogs, the infographics, the image posts, the carousels, they're top of the funnel kind of content. But your podcast is the relationship building, which is a bit further down, which takes a lot longer to get people in there and doing it. So you want to start building the processes. This is your goal to begin with, is that you're going to commit, you're going to build processes, you're going to play.
Yeah.
You're going to learn and develop.
And this is it, isn't it? So what we're saying ultimately in that first year is play. See what you enjoy. Do you enjoy talking to camera? Do you want to do more interview styles? Do you go online with it? Do you and have guests come through, dial in?
Do you just do audio only? Do you do video?
All of those things. But what we also want you to do is keep in the back of your mind that the ultimate thing here is you planning and where you're leading them to and where you're going. So where are all these things doing? Our last episode, we took them to the podcast planner, which was in the description. That was your call to action. That was our immediate goal for that episode. But then from a business perspective, what are our goals? Where do we want to be going? And this is where, although you're going to talk about, we're right now talking about that first year, you want to have a knowledge of the next year to 3 years and then 3 years plus. Yeah,
it's great to set that big goal to begin with, but no, that's going to take time. This is
foundation.
This is the key to this message, is that do know it takes commitment and time. It's a long game when you're doing a podcast. And I've said it once already. I'll probably say it again. Mm-hmm. But if you can commit to it and you can start learning, developing and creating it, which you're starting off with a one-man band, really.
Yes.
You may have a small skeleton crew. You may have a small team who can help. You may have support from a business partner, a team member. But really, you're the only person. You may get people to come on and be guests on your podcast, but this is a one-man band. You are the one recording it, editing it, releasing it, creating your content from it. It's a lot of work, a time and commitment to do. And if it feels scary and you don't feel like you have that time, you've got to know that as well, which is why we're kind of giving you this. But once you've had that year of doing it and you know you can start growing, you're then looking at your midterm goals.
Yeah. So this is all, like you say, it's the foundations of your growth. This is where we are and what do we want it to do for us ultimately? Where are we going? And again, in that year, those might slightly alter and change. We've had it.
We're saying a year because this is rough guide of what we're doing. It could be quicker. It could take longer. It depends how you again react to things.
But also, can we, I worry sometimes when we talk about the amount of commitment it is, because you are talking as a solo one-man band. You don't have to start. You can start straight away. It's what we do. We've started with as a production team and committed. So if you outsource it, one of those fears is extinguished straight away, because they are taking a load off of you immediately, that production side of things, the editing and things like that. So all of a sudden, that amount of commitment to you becomes smaller. It is what we do at the like. I'm not here to just sell us, but what I'm trying to say is.
But this studio is ideal for people starting out.
Yes.
Because it is. You come here, you film it, you have an episode virtually done for you while you're talking, and it's doing cuts, especially if you've got a couple of people. But if you just need a space so you can concentrate, record, and leave knowing that it's pretty much there done for you, it's a very minimal cost, and you can have several episodes recorded, and like, can you commit to bulk recording 4 episodes, 5 episodes, and then gradually getting that team to come and support you? You're spending too much time still releasing content or editing short form content from it.
Yeah. Well, this is what I was going to say. In that sense, the DIY production studio setup that we have is exactly that. So we've had people who have come here, recorded 4 episodes in a day, and then we have people like the rookie CEO who come and record 13 episodes in a day, because they want their whole quarter's worth of content done in one day. So they plan that, they make that worthwhile. They take the stress of how much commitment's involved. It's already edited for them. So all Fuzzy has to do is add the front and end plate. There might be a little tweak in the middle, maybe depending on how their conversation's gone. We've just had a cough, and so you wouldn't have seen that. That's cut out.
Oh, you will. I'm not going to edit it out. No.
But ultimately, it's done. It's dusted, and that commitment now is one day adding and releasing. And again, you can do that in a day or two.
Yeah, you can schedule it all.
3 days worth of work for 3 months worth of work. I don't mind if I do. Thank you. So knowing those foundations, fantastic. Get them now. But let's build on those foundations. So we know that the next level is your 1 to 3 years, right?
Yeah, maybe up to 5 potentially, but we've seen things from a year to 3 years, and this is about really start seeing the impact of the podcast. So you have a quality podcast. You spent a year learning, developing it, making it better. You're now going to start seeing the results from it on your business, because you are coming in with CTAs or call to actions. You are telling the audience what you would like them to do, and they're starting to react to it. The sales calls that you're getting, one will be getting more of them.
Yeah.
But 2, they're quicker because they've seen you. They've built that relationship. Like I said,
You mean the yes is quicker?
The yeses. They're saying yes to your service quicker because they spent time with you. They've watched episodes. They've gone back and watched your early episodes.
They've heard your expertise.
Yeah.
And you've also already answered the questions that they had, because this is what this can do for you, is those frequently asked questions. What are they? Let's talk about them, and in detail.
And that's another thing. Like, you're going to get more interactions on your episode.
Yeah.
So they're going to become, it's going to then start feeding itself with more and more content, because your audience are asking you the right questions for you to answer in another episode.
Yeah.
It's going to start looking after itself. It's starting to build itself and start seeing momentum with it. You will be able to start going, okay, we need a team to help with a process, whether that process is handling the calls that you're getting or helping with the production, having an editor take over a bit more so you can just turn up and talk. Your editor will then go, I'll do the shorts, I'll do the episode editing, because that human interaction with the edits does come across. They know when to keep a pause, when to cut a break, listen to the ums and ers. Maybe they feel natural, maybe they don't, and try and fix that. So your quality again will take another step higher because you are investing into your podcast a bit more.
It's also becoming that point that it's beginning to work for itself, like you said, and fuel itself. But this is where these link back to your first. This is where this links back to your first goals and understanding these points before you even set out, right? Because we're finding it as we begin to talk more, people are picking up our podcast. We are seen as the industry leaders in video podcasting. We're now being asked to speak on stages. We're now being asked to guest on podcasts. So they're few and far between, but those little things are now also taking us away from the the role that we originally started within this. So as our roles are evolving and developing, so was that intentionally always our plan? Well, for me, yes, it was. This was always, this is my role within the, it wasn't so much for you, but now you're enjoying it.
I'm enjoying a lot more of being seen, heard, known for this stuff. People asking me to talk about it, and I know this stuff. I'm happy to share.
Yeah.
Like we said in a previous episode, one of my values personally is learn and teach. I love learning what I'm doing, but I love learning about the people that we have in the studio. But I love teaching people how to do what I do and why I do it.
Taking you slightly away from then the producing for somebody else. Obviously, we treat ourselves like a client, so this is allocated time. But you know what I mean? So in that sense, the more that we get asked to do this, we're going to have to look to hire new producers to come in and do that. Are you comfortable with that? Is that the role you want to be taking? Do you want to be stood on stage being asked to do that? Because if not, we need to figure out who's going to do that. Yeah. Who is representing your business for you?
And your podcast should be your first talking gig. You should be able to...
Oh, gosh, yeah.
show your expertise in it. And really, I think that should be a goal that people have. It's like, you're talking on a podcast, where are you talking next? Are you going on somebody else's podcast? And is that person that you're going on the right audience for you? Is their relationship there the right relationship to have? Are the stages you're being asked to talk to the right audience for you?
Yeah.
This is all leading on to a bigger thing in the even longer term, but it's kind of going, if you're getting these opportunities of talking, it's also fueling more content for you. You get yourself a content manager who's there because you're talking on stage, and they're able to record that. That can be another episode, or that could be cut into shorts, or that could be turned into a blog. It lends, again, fuels itself again in another way. But having your business grow alongside this, because you're being put in front of your ideal audience again. And they're coming up to you at these events going, you're who I want to work with.
Yeah.
Great. And you've also got a free option for them to work with you, right? You've got a year's worth of content or 3 years worth of content for them to go back and be like, oh, I need... they might not be able to afford you at that time, but they've got that free resource of your podcast that you can send them to every time that they have a question. Go, oh, I've done an episode on that. Listen to this, and you can build that relationship, and they'll just go, well, I just need to work with you.
I mean, you're jumping into the long term side of things.
But this is nearer to 3 years, maybe.
But before we dive there, because what we spoke about a lot in that medium term, that sort of year to three year zone is a lot of opportunities coming your way. The speaking on stages, the guesting on podcasts, all of those sorts of things. But alongside that, other goals to be looking at is, like we said, is this is going to fuel your business, but this can also become a monetized opportunity. So there are different ways to do it, and it's not always a way, it's not always an option to look at for you, but we've seen it happen where we've worked with a team on their podcast, and they've grown it a lot. And when we came on board, we got it over the mark of monetization on YouTube. Mm-hmm. They got to that next level. So all of a sudden, episodes begin to earn them a few pennies, and then earn them a few pounds, and then that's we would always say that's not a goal to have, because that can change overnight. It only takes an algorithm, and all of a sudden you're like, oh no, it's all gone. And we've seen YouTubers who have spoken about this quite honestly and things like that. So it is a residual passive income that helps.
Yes.
However, you want to guarantee a money intro. At the point you've got a name for yourself, who is reaching out to you, and could they sponsor the podcast?
There are traps with sponsorship, but there's a lot of wins with sponsorship. The wins always outweigh the traps, because you don't necessarily want to take the first company that comes to you and sponsor that offers you sponsorship because they just might not be aligned with your audience, and that can break a lot of trust.
Yeah.
You need to make sure you're managing your sponsorship correctly. You need to make sure that they are ideal for your clients because they're coming to you because you have the ideal clients for them, but are they ideal for your clients or for your listeners, for your audience? Are they selling something you would use or happy to recommend? So if you're an accountant, are you going to recommend Huel or are you going to recommend Zero?
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean, again, your personal beliefs come into this as well. Because if you're an accountant who's got a fitness
who works
fitness
with the
goal
fitness,
as well, or works in fitness businesses, works with gyms, then yes, it may it aligns very much. But if you're an accountant who's working with hairdressers, does it align? Or salons, when really you might look at different types of face masks or...
This is it, yeah.
Does it align?
We would quite happily, like, things that we are known for, like if Lego want to sponsor us, then that would be a key one for us. Coffee, biscuits, these things are things that when people come to see us and come to our studio, interact with us, comic books, those sorts of things, like, they're on brand. So align with other brands. If we started talking about, I was going to go down the fitness line for us, then people would be like, really? You don't really talk about that side of things.
You don't really look like it. What do you mean? I'm an Adonis. You don't really have this look of it. Yeah, okay, thanks.
But those sorts of...
I'll go start advertising hair transplants.
This is it, right? Like, it needs to align with you. It needs to align with your audience as well. That's not saying that there's not loads of fitness people out there watching us and stuff. Fine, great. But ultimately, there's a big wide world of audience out there, and you need to know who they are and who's listening and stuff like that. We listen to Chris and Rosie Ramsey. They talk about mental health because Chris always talks about his mental health and how that also affects Rosie. So they
Go Henry because they're parents with young kids.
Tesco because they shop. It's just a line. It's fine. And look at those sponsorships. You can look at one episode, multi-episodes, seasons. There are, again, so many different options to look at. And
sponsorships do offer so much freedom as well, because especially if it's the right sponsorship, because they allow you to talk the way you talk, be yourself on your episode, let you have your own conversations, and they won't impede on that because they know that they've come and working with you for a reason.
Because of the way you do it.
They're not just reaching out to everyone to hope that somebody will accept the sponsorship. No. It is an opportunity for freedom. It means that you can share more. It means that you could potentially build more of a team, or you can just have more of a life from it because your podcast is funding you in another way, and it's becoming that consistent income. And if you have a few sponsors and your audience with the right sponsorship, your audience will trust you more.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, isn't it? Because we talk about business a lot in this because that's predominantly who we work with. But there are lifestyle podcasts. I mean, the Ramseys podcast is a lifestyle podcast. They did it as a husband and wife duo. It just got a bit fun, and now it's grown into a business for them. So there are ways as well, like looking at that side of things. As you know, we've spoken about having a different type of podcast that is more, I say more us. This is very much us, but more family oriented lifestyle, not so much business. The difficulty with us is life and business is one of the same. But, those are those elements. So also looking at that is yours sole business? Do you want it to fuel a lifestyle? Then actually, is it a business podcast at all? Do you want it to be a lifestyle podcast? Where are you going with that? So these are your 1 to 3 year foundations, which you would have looked at when you were starting out as well, having an idea of them. But again, adjusting as you grow. It's okay to change.
We've done short-term goals. We've done medium term goals. I think we've got to ask people, what are you thinking your goals for the short term, medium term, and now we're going to talk about the long term. I think you really need to think about these as well at the very beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. We know what our long-term goal is for the business. So what we've done is gone, where does the podcast fuel that? How does it fuel that? So, I mean, do you want to share our long-term business goal? Because again, it's talking it. This might change. We might look back on this in a year's time and go, well, that's not that anymore.
That's not that. Well,
but for now,
my goal is to using the power of the podcast is to be what fuels our business. And I want our podcast to be a success. I want YouTube to be a success for me. I'm not going to include you in that because you may not want that as yourself be a thing. But I want YouTube to be a thing that I go all in on and grow. And I believe that podcasting is a way to do that. I don't want it just to be for me either. I want our business, YVT, or whatever it's going to be in the future, to be able to support us, able to support a team, a good number of people. I also want it to support the people that are producing podcasts with us. Yeah. I want everyone to win from the service that we have. And I've seen businesses have success. You've got BBC Sounds, you've got Flight Stories or Flight Squad, Flight Studios, you've got Global, who are at a point in their businesses where they can support several podcasts and make them successful because the starting point platform is that further ahead than us. But why can't we do that as well? Why can't we be the podcast production agency for businesses that grow businesses?
I love that.
That's what I want it to be. And I want us to be successful on YouTube with the podcast because I love YouTube. I want it to grow for us. I want to be known as that person that you go to for this information about podcasting.
You want one of those badges there, don't you?
A gold plate, that would be lovely. The diamond one would be better.
But again, you've got to know that, because otherwise we could quite easily have just created an audio-only podcast and stuck it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. But you want to be a YouTube influencer or a YouTuber, you want to do that, then ultimately this has got to go out on YouTube. This has got to fuel YouTube for us. So episodes, the longer the episode, the longer people listen. Sorry, not the longer episodes. The longer people listen to show that retention rate, you're rewarded for that. You put out your shorts, it directs people to the longer episodes, you're rewarded for that. All those things, more subscribers, everything that happens there just fuels YouTube, which fuels your dream.
Yeah.
And the podcast does that for you through the expertise of what you have from the business.
Yeah, and I want the studios to expand. I want them to be bigger than...
We want UK-wide.
Yeah, well, if not further. But I want my business to be the podcast agency that, again, grows businesses through it, and we know what the steps are they need to take to do it, and it's going to happen.
It is. What I hear a lot from businesses, and we've done it, and there are still elements where we do it as well, is you go, well, I have to do it all. I have to wear all the hats, right? As that beginning business, as that solopreneur. And if we can create a space where actually a large part of your marketing, because also the marketing, and it infuriates me, and maybe that's because we are in this world, the only way you get business is by marketing. That's not true. A large proportion of the way business comes in is through marketing. And you know that is true because otherwise places like McDonald's, who we all know, would stop marketing. They still pay millions to have ads put out there, despite the fact they're a multi-billion-pound commodity or whatever they're nowadays called, I don't know, commodity.
Conglomerate.
Or that. Yeah, I don't even know if that's the right word, but we're going to leave it
conglomerate.
in there. Conglomerate. But ultimately, do McDonald's need to market? Do Coca-Cola need to market? Or am I going to walk in and I'm just going to pick up a drink? And I'm probably going to be a Coca-Cola.
I think they do.
But they have to.
They have to.
Of course they do. Otherwise, we wouldn't see them doing it, right? Like, otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. So marketing is the most important part of your business to continue to keep you front of mind and getting you out there. However, marketing is also the first thing to get cut in a budget. And people will go, so right, we'll get the marketing team because we need the sales team. Right, you need the sales team. How are they getting the sales? Because there's no one coming through your marketing. So, just putting it out there. I am going to have a little bit of a money rant. Stop cutting the marketing team, okay, guys? So what we're going to create is a one-stop. You chat about your business and all your marketing's done in one place. And that's what the agency
That's not
is.
what we're going to do. That's what we have done.
That
is what our business is.
It. So don't curse. But that is what we are, isn't it? That's what we've created because we were struggling with all the many hats. But what we can do is talk about our business.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about this one thing as well. We're going to talk about podcasting because that's what we know will fuel everything. But what is your long-term goal? So you've had your rant.
Sorry, love you. My long-term goal is talking to people, and ultimately now it's standing on stages. I've got the bug. I want to be up there. I want to be doing it. Like, I absolutely love standing there and talking to people and hearing their stories and getting to tell those stories even further. Like talking on here and then getting to use the examples of the Kent Business Show, which obviously we produce and host, but then I got to speak to Teresa and I got to speak to Emma and, all of those things. Like, I love sharing their stories and their expertise and giving them that platform. And I want to take a platform to continue to give that platform.
I think there's also, you have got a story to share and tell as well. You have shared some of your stories online and they've got a lot of positive feedback, but that was only in the written form. If you can learn to speak it and structure the way that you tell your stories, and then I think you're going to resonate and grow so much more when you can.
I love telling stories. I do love, telling my stories. I've got some incredible stories. I'm not going to hide that fact. I've had some wonderful jobs that have sort of fueled those, and I do love telling them. And I'm well aware I have a way of telling stories. I know my talent in that sense. My issue with telling my story is the purpose. And that's the part I'm learning now is, why am I telling you that I was in the police force and stuff and that's what happened? I now know the reason I tell you I'm in the police force was because my interviewing skills, which now come into the business.
I tell you what though, I watched a video with the legend that is Daniel Priestley yesterday, and this all came through somebody's post on LinkedIn.
You haven't told me about this. I'm intrigued by this.
I'm sorry, I can't remember who I saw, but it was just one of those passing posts. They mentioned Daniel Priestley, which meant I saw the post because he pops up as one of my favourite people. And he was talking about how on LinkedIn he's doing a everyday CTA.
Okay.
Or everyday call to action. And he said that with his learnings on LinkedIn, where he's posted every day something something that is motivating, sexy, useful, like a teaching, like a list of like 7 things that it could have been, like how the content was released.
Yeah.
But the CTA didn't necessarily have anything to do with the content, but he still got him over £7,000 a day's worth of income. The CTA. So here's a conversation. So you say you talk about your job in the police, and at the end of it, you're going, what's the point of me sharing this? And what Daniel Priestley has found out is like, he can say that, but like if you're having a conversation with this, you can change like that. All of a sudden you can go, oh, and also, or by the way, or like you just go, I spoke about this, being in the police, this is a story. Oh, by the way, I run a video agency. I specialise in podcasts. Like it's just a quick change, but that still works
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was fantastic. Yeah, I'll share the video
Because
with you. And in fact, I'll put a link to that video
yeah, I was
in
like-
here as well. But it was really nice to see that, because he was saying what I was struggling with, what he was struggling with through it was going, I need to make something related to what I need to sell or what I
Yeah.
am selling. And that's a trap that we all fall into, isn't it? Really? We're going off topic again. But
Interesting. I
but
like that
it
one.
is like you can go, but also this is what I do. I've given you all this information, which is great information for you to go forward with. But also, did you know I do this? And that still worked. And that's a topic. And that's just made marketing easier to know that
God,
fact.
yeah, like I haven't got to try and tangibly, like loosely try and connect something. I'm just be like, and da da da.
But
Yeah.
but
Well,
what
talking
are
of
the
and
and let's move on to
like-
what the long-term goals are. These
Well,
3 years.
hang on, no, wait.
Okay, sorry.
Because yes, my goal is to stand on stages, tell the stories, do that side of things. But within the business, what I'm very good at is helicoptering, and I talk about how I helicopter over the business and building the team. Oh gosh. Building the team.
I didn't say anything, so it didn't cut to me.
Building the team. What I love is supporting. I love that I will get to support a team, and I'm very good at having a broad knowledge of a lot of things, but I'm not very good at putting myself in and becoming an expert on something. So I like to dip in, support, help, go back up to the top. Who can I help next? Dip into so when you say you want to build this big team and you know create that space for all these different businesses to come in and do that, my role when I'm not going out talking on stages, providing the platform for that, is being there to support the team and going, right, how can I help him? Right, you're struggling with this part of the editing. Right, I know who from another part of our team or who else we can speak to.
I don't think that's necessarily. I don't think that fixing problems is what it is. It's that vision that you've got.
Yeah.
It's that visionary kind of mentality. Like you have a great ability to talk to someone and figure out the what if you done. What
I
if
have
you
all the
done
answers
this?
for everybody else.
Yeah,
Never for myself. Have you tried
But
this?
it's a role. It's a role that companies need. They need that visionary person to come up with the weird, the wacky, the wonderful.
And that's why I'm here.
But think about our partners that we've had in the past. You go, oh, what about doing this? And at the time, I might go, why did you say that? That means hard work for me.
I always make that comment. Better kick me under the table in a minute. But have you thought of?
But also, it challenges me in a positive way. It makes me better. Or I just go, no, I can't do that. But it gives...
Or we find someone. We have that. That's where we have our bank of freelancers that we utilise or work, and work with and things like that.
You coming up with this wacky idea. Oh, I thought about this. I'll go, oh my goodness, how are we going to do that?
She said out loud.
And then I have to figure it out. But that makes the job a bit more interesting and fun as well. And I think if you can bring that in your helicopter visionary kind of position, you offer a lot to our partners by having that mentality about going, here's something you didn't think about. It's a bit weird, wacky, wild, but...
My brain fizzing.
Yeah.
When we were on that call the other day with Katie, and I was like, right, my brain's fizzing. I just need to say this out loud. It's not an immediate thing, but have you thought of da-da-da-da-da?
Yeah.
Great. Keep that. That's a little seed planted, but we're not going to grow it just yet. It's just going to stay there. Yeah. Oh, I like that. Okay. Weird, wacky, wonderful. We're going to take that as a content bit. And I'm going to show you that when you moan at me and be like, do you remember when you said this?
I'll always moan at you because I'm your husband, not just your business partner. Because you're the only person I can moan about my business partner too.
Now you've got all these people.
We've spoke about what our term goals are, and we said at the start of that long segment that the people who are starting a podcast should really consider these long-term goals, because your long-term goals, your 3 years plus, maybe 5 years plus, are very different to what your podcast goals for your business were. They are becoming, because you are becoming more of the product, the service. You are becoming, I've mentioned him already a couple of times, Daniel Priestley would say, the key person of influence.
Yeah.
You've built that audience. You've built a community. Like, what can you now do to support them? So
you're the industry leader, which is what we've gone into this for, right? This is why you've started this role. You want to be known as the industry leader for your service, product, industry. So you are it. This is it now. But that will likely mean, if you take that role on, that you are not necessarily doing that role now. You are that role. No, you're in front of it. You're leading the way.
You're not charging time, money for time. You're now charging money for knowledge.
Yeah.
Your learnings that you've had over these years, the expertise that you've shared in your industry, your podcast becomes its own product and service, its own income. You've got the sponsorship deals, you're working with the right people. Your business is still growing because you're that key person of influence. Everyone knows that your business is the go-to place. And
the likelihood is now, where you've built that, you have different revenues of how that business works for you, how the podcast works for you. So you will now be at the point that you have such a following, build that community. You've built that community through your podcast. Have you now got a membership? Are there levels to your community where there is the free one? You can just watch, sit, go, find old episodes. Great. There's a couple of free resources, those lead magnets, they're there too. That's great. That's all there. It's all free. That's your community. But now you're going to stick a paid wall there. And what are they getting? Is it now that you're going to dial in for a live one-to-one once a month? Is it events that you're hosting? They get tickets, like advanced tickets to freebie. What is it that paid membership that now is bringing you a monthly revenue from as well, because they want your expertise. They want to be in your room, and they're now paying to be in that room.
What we have seen from when it comes to an industry leader who's been going for a while, and this is Six Figure Bookkeeper or the Bookkeepers Podcast, it's one and the same. We had a friend who knew that we produced their podcast for them, who was an accountant and bookkeeper themselves. They came to the studio to meet us, but 6FB was here.
She didn't. She came to meet them because she knew we were recording that day. Yeah. But reached out to them,
said, can I come? And like when she got here, she was almost starstruck. Yeah, no, she wasn't almost. She was starstruck. She kind of was like, I don't know what to say. I think you're just like celebrities to me, because that's who they are. And and them being there and allowing that to happen made them a customer for life.
Yeah, because they said, come and have a coffee with us, which she did. They were approachable. They were people. There's, that's funny because I wrote this earlier on one of my morning rambles that I remembered that I was going to, is what is your version of fame? So when it comes to Daniel Priestley, who you've mentioned a number of times today, to us, when we met him, we were like, oh my God, it's Daniel Priestley. Like, wow, we've met him.
And he liked my badge. He liked my Back to the Future badge that I had on.
Yeah, but that was like, we were like, oh my gosh, like there with a book. Can you sign our book, please? But then what's really odd is there's been other people in business and we've gone, oh yeah, so Daniel Priestley? And they're like, who? And you're like, what? Sorry, you're in business and you don't know Daniel Priestley. Like, what on earth is going on here? But to us, he's famous to us. He's our industry fame. Become that. Become your industry celebrity. Because, what ultimately that's all celebrities are in the big wide world that we know. People we know is, the Kardashians. I don't actually know what they're famous for.
I watched a video on this.
What are they famous for?
Just being themselves.
Right, but the Osbournes, Ozzy Osbourne was famous. Sharon Osbourne was a music producer. By all accounts, respectfully, association of her dad, met Ozzy, then become Ozzy's wife. Then they did the Osbournes. That blew them up.
How long ago did you read her autobiography?
That was let's not get into that one. Why? What's it matter?
Oh, just the way that you knew that she was a producer and was met by her dad to Ozzy. I thought that.
I thought you were taking the mick out of me. There's one particular story in there that sticks out, but we won't go into that one right now. But it was the Osbournes, it was the show that then blew them up, that then took them that next level because Jack and Kelly were on the roll with them. And they do have another daughter, Rebecca, who said, I don't want that life. And very well done, has actually managed to not have that life. But they became famous, but you've also got your...
Stephen Bartlett, his podcast has made him a dragon, which has opened him up to a wider audience.
This is why we started it as well.
Yeah. You can look at someone like, pretty much any dragon.
They're celebrities. Sarah Davis, right? Love Sarah Davis. I used to be massive on crafting and things like that. So when I found out, I was like, yes, she's my queen. What's really funny now is that side of my life has disappeared. My mum's really into, she's like, oh my God, have you seen Sarah Davis? Is it like AdCon? What is it? Do I need to be there? I'm like, no, Mum, you don't need to be there. I need to be at that one. I did say she could take me if she wants to buy me a ticket, but again, a celebrity for her is celebrity different for me.
Yeah, because Sarah Davis is two different people to you both as well. Yeah. That's the other thing. Like, what are you known for? And
Karen Brady, she's another brilliant lady.
She was the apprentice. She is on the apprentice, the assistant.
She still is on Lord Sugar's panel.
Yeah, but
she owns West Ham. That's West Ham. Right? Yeah. Okay. I got it right. But because she's a phenomenal businesswoman. And to be fair to her, she's a phenomenal businesswoman. That's why Lord Sugar has her by his side, but has become famous in her own right now as well.
Yeah. These
are long-term goals.
Long-term goals. You're building your tribe. Yeah. I'm quoting every book title that there is. You become that key person. You're becoming that key person of influence.
Are they all Daniel Pusey's ones as well? I'm going to start now.
You're getting your super fans. That's another book.
I was just about to be like, and Parenting Hell. No, that's not the right one. that comes in here as well. But ultimately,
But maybe what we've just triggered there, or what we've just triggered there, that's another long-term goal. Is how is your podcast going to make you an influence and give you your audience something else? You could become a writer of a book.
Yeah.
Because the story that you've got, and almost even like a coach to people who are coming to the industry, your product will change over time, which is evolution. It's not breaking who you were or who you are now. But in 5 years' time, who is and what is your business then? Is your 5-year goal going to be write a book? Because a podcast can give you a heck of a lot of content to write a book with. Is your 5-year goal going to be, I'm going to start a community where I'm interacting with an audience, where people can come up to me, that they have a way of being in touch with you because you've built that trust, loyalty, and over such a long period of time? Are you going to be a keynote speaker at the biggest event in your industry? Mm-hmm. Is that your 5-year goal?
Do you want to know my real long-term goal?
Retirement?
Yeah, at 55. That's my goal. And the reason that is my goal is because when I joined the police force, that's how old I was going to be when I retired. I was going to be 55 when I retired. I can't see how I can do that now. But I can.
I think you can.
I can see that now because I have that plan. And how cool would it be to break that and beat that? I'm a little bit competitive sometimes. So now I'm like, I'm going to do that by the time I'm 50. So my long-term goal is to retire by the time I'm 55.
Oh, you could do that anyway and just be poor, but...
I don't think that's cool. I wouldn't be able to retire and be poor because I would be poor. I'd have to go work.
Well, we'll figure that out. We'll figure out how that's going to happen. Or I don't know if I'd retire at whatever age I'd be when you're 55, 58 or whatever it is. I'd just I'll do all this still.
but this is the thing. Like I say, retire at 55, and then that scares me because then I think, what am I going to do? Who knows? That goal might change because I get nearer to that age and then think, I don't want to stop working. I enjoy what I do. I might be traveling the world on stages. I will be traveling the world on stages, taking you and the kids. How old will the boys be?
I don't know.
They can fend for themselves by that point.
But,
they almost are now. So
yeah, I think that's a reasonable goal to have, and we'll make that happen, I guess, somehow. But it is to make again, long-term goal of your podcast is that it will support your lifestyle.
Yes.
It will give you freedom.
Yeah.
It will give you opportunities to travel to be at different places. And okay, it might not be podcasts that have done it for these people, but it's long-form content and stuff like Gary Vaynerchuk, Alex Hormozy, Mel Robbins, although she probably started off more with books, but...
Yeah, but then released them audibly, and then from that got a podcast, which was audio, which has developed into video.
Yeah.
Just jump straight to video.
And there's people that have a great starting point as well. You look at Davina McCall and Fern Cotton's podcast. They have a great starting point because they've been able to go straight in with a team there to be able to start growing and developing and know what she's coming up with.
I think I'm going to put it out there and say this is an episode, not necessarily a next episode, but an episode that is how much of a team, what is involved when it comes to having a successful podcast. Like if I'm going to plan to be the long-term goal of podcasting, what do I need? What are the foundations? We've gone through it all today, but what do I need? What do I want? What is that? What does that team look like to me? Maybe that's an episode. We have got to wrap this one up though. All
right, we'll wrap this one up. Thank you very much for listening. Tell us, what are your goals for your podcast? We want to hear them. Put them in the comments so we can share them.
What are your goals for life, and how is your podcast going to fuel that?
There you go. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.